My name is Dr. Sandy Barganier, and I'm a professor in the Department of Health Promotion and Wellness. I'm also the program coordinator for Integrative Professional Studies, which is a new major pretty much online. And I'm happy to be joined with Magdalena Rivera, the Assistant Dean of Students for Student Outreach and Support. And Sarah Worrell is here. She's an academic program coordinator with the Office of Extended Learning. Kranthi is a grad assistant in Magdalena's office. And so welcome. This is a session on work-life balance, and this is sponsored by the Adult Student Assistance Program. Really geared towards adult learners. So we're really happy you're here, that you've taken, part of work-life balance is having a couple minutes to attend something like this. This is really meant to be pretty interactive. I don't think we have all the answers. Obviously, we don't, because everyone's life is a little different and you have different challenges. But we just wanted to share some tips for you, some things to think about. Please chime in whenever you want, ask questions through chat, or I'm actually happier if you just speak. But if Sarah's going to watch the chat, that's great, because I can't do both of those things at one time. But so thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. So just a couple, tips here. And some of these, if you have others, let's share them with each other so we can learn from each other, because you probably have some great ideas as well. But I think, one thing, if you're just returning this fall, I don't know if this is your first semester or not, but I think one thing a lot of students in general, whether you're an adult student or a traditional age student, is really setting realistic goals about attending school and taking classes. And a lot of people don't really understand that for really almost every 1 hour in a class, and that's easier to think about if you're doing it face-to-face in person, but for every 1 hour in class, you should plan 2 to 3 hours outside of class for time to read, to rewrite your notes, to do research, to study. And if it's a topic that's really difficult or new to you, that could be double the time. And if English is your second language, it could be double the time or triple the time that you have to read something again and again and again. And I think a lot of folks don't understand how much reading and writing goes into college. And it does. So, at SUNY Oswego, just like the other SUNYs, we have 5 courses that are writing intensive. And so you're going to do a lot of writing. And this is at the undergraduate level. But so when you're planning your schedule, think about that. For every one class, that I'm in class, I got to plan 2 to 3 hours outside of class. So if you're taking 15 credit hours, that's a full-time job. That's, almost 40 hours, right, of time that you need to do your work. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. And if you're working full-time and if you have a family, it's almost, I don't want to say it's impossible, because people do it, but they do it, usually by sacrificing something. And it's usually their health, mental health, sleep, their relationships, their partners hate them by then or something, so think about, is this realistic? And I know financial aid is a big issue, and that you have to have 12 credits, I believe, to get financial aid as an undergrad. And so it's tough, because that forces you to take, if you're depending on financial aid, especially, federal, the federal aid loans, you usually have to take 4 classes, and that can be really difficult. I think we have something in the chat there. Yeah, that's been.
I mentioned that's a concern that she has for sure.
Yeah.
The financial aid.
Yeah. So, I always recommend taking 1 or 2 classes if you're working full time with a family, or even if you're just working full time. I think it's a lot to take on. I really do. But I'm sensitive to the fact that you need 4 classes. So, think about, are these lab-based? Are these writing intensive? Are they electives? Are they requirements? Are they gen ed? And try to maybe think about and talk to people. I mean, it'd be great to talk to the professor, but the worst thing you can do is say, hey, is your class hard? Am I have to work hard in your class? Because every professor would be like, oh, of course you're going to work hard in my class. But, some of us can say, well, this is a writing intensive class, so you're going to spend a lot of time writing and rewriting and drafts, or this is a research focused class. So think about, library time, whether that's online or in person. So kind of do a little exploring if you can. Even, I shouldn't even say this, they'll kick me out, but like rateyourprofessor.com. I mean, I don't think that usually you get people that love you or hate you, right? Nobody in the middle comments. But I think it's important. You can at least get an idea like, oh my gosh, they expect so much, written work, or they have, 5 articles to read a week, or, sometimes you get some of the inside stuff, but you can ask a faculty member for the syllabus. You can ask them for that. Like I've had people ask me for the syllabus for the spring already. And I said, I don't have it made up for the spring, but here's last spring's. It's not going to change much. So they can see kind of what's coming down the pike. Okay. Sarah, there's some questions.
I like that comment. That's a great observation, because communication is key, right? So communicating with everyone to see what has been done and what's coming ahead of for the classes is really good to find that out ahead of time.
Right. Hello, Avelina. Welcome. I saw you earlier at our health panel. So the second thing I talk about is communicating with your family or friends or whoever you hang out with. I use that word family very broadly, but at the beginning of every semester, you really should have a conversation with whoever your life impacts and establish some buy-in. So if you have a partner, or if you have children, or if other people depend on you, you need to let them know what's going down and saying, hey, mom's going back to work or going back to school, and I work full-time or I work part-time, and, here's what it's going to look like. And here's how it may impact you, and really deal with this commitment that you're making up front with those people that it will be impacted. And also you have to plan that, your life happens. There's, I can't tell you how many times, people have had car issues. They can't get to class, or, kid is sick, or, obviously we all went through COVID, and that was, a nightmare, and caregiving. So ask for help. And I mean that from your partner, your family, your children. If we were just chatting among ourselves before you all logged on about dinner, and, for some reason, I'm this, independent career woman, but I always was in charge of dinner. And I basically, my, kids left home, and said to my husband, I'm done. I'm not doing dinner anymore. You want to do dinner? You make dinner. I'm okay to have salad or cereal. So, but you got to let people know that your life is changing, and therefore it's going to impact them, and try to get some, support from them, friends, neighbor. Yep. Great idea, Magdalena. And it may be time for especially if you have kids, to, they have to step up and contribute more. The other one is, obviously everyone says time management, but I'm always dumbfounded when I talk to students who are struggling. I'm like, let me see your calendar. Take a picture of it. Oh, I don't have a calendar. Where do you keep it? Oh, I keep it up here. You can't. All right. You can't keep it up here. I can't keep it up there. I don't care if it's a big wall calendar. I don't care if it's your phone. Actually, I find both work. And I have a thing on my door. Like when I exit, like going into my garage, I have a list of things that, I have to remember to do. So, even if it's writing on your hand, but, you have to really manage your time, especially if you're taking a full load, especially if you're working full time, and especially if you have other people that depend on you. You're going to sacrifice something, but you've got to think about what am I going to sacrifice? And it'd be best if you plan that up front, that you've made a decision with yourself that, what, I'm just not going to be going out with the guys on Friday night for a couple of beers and football. I'm not going to be, hanging out with my social circle on Sunday afternoons. But I think you have to really prioritize your health. All right. Your sleep, your health, your family, or whoever's important to you, and your studies. Those should be priority. And it means, and if you work, your job, because you don't want to lose your job because you're going back to school. But you really need to say, what can I sacrifice? And I don't know if anybody else wants to jump in on that.
No, I think that everything that you've said is really great. So key also is the balancing the well-being, right? Because if you're not healthy, if you're not sleeping, if you're not taking care of yourself, it will be very hard to get all these things done, like your work and the school work and that kind of stuff. So great point with that.
Absolutely. I mean, if sleep, I'm a health educator, and to me, sleep is our number one public health issue. It's huge. And, you cannot work all day, come home, take care of family till 9, and then think you're going to stay up till 1 and study. And you can do that a couple times, but it's not going to work well. Things will start to fall apart. Either you get sick, you get run down, then you're missing work, you're missing school, or you're not studying well, you're not retaining information well, and or you get irritable and you have bad relationships because you're screaming at everybody. So I used to teach stress management too. So and I just, well-rested people deal with a lot of stuff better. So the other thing is to think about experimenting with routines. I'm a morning person. Okay. I can naturally wake up at 5 o'clock. I always have. I go to bed early. I know that cognitively, I work really well between 5 and 8 in the morning. And that's when I do most of my cognitive work. If I have to read for understanding, if I have to learn something for grading, like I know if I grade your work in the morning, I'm going to be probably better at doing that than if I grade it after 9 o'clock at night. Okay. So, I'm not good between 9 and 11 at night, but you need to figure out where do you function best cognitively for your studying, for your reading, for your note taking.
Sandy, we have a question in the chat. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Please do.
Evelina asks a wonderful question that I'm sure a lot of adult students have. And it is, what do you suggest when your mental health is impacting your academic performance or ability to complete assignments on time?
I think, first of all, it depends what you mean by mental. I don't, you don't have to get into that, but what is it? Is it something that's ongoing in your life and you're being treated by a professional, or seeking therapy or, medication or whatever it is it needs? Or is it just you're feeling overwhelmed and a lot of anxiety and it's a new transition in your life? It's okay to be stressed. It is. I mean, stress, we make it out as such a bad thing, but stress is the way to get your body ready to do stuff. It's when it overwhelms you to the point where you can't function that, yes, it becomes a problem. Yeah. But I think if you are really having problems that you cannot get out of bed or you cannot do your work, come on, you've made a financial commitment to take on this thing called education. And if your mental health is going to impact that, I think you need to talk to a professional if that's somebody you've been seeing or doing that, and or seek help on campus, or we have online mental health access free for you as SUNY Oswego students.
Yes, you can request counseling through online. So that's something that students need to know. If you're an adult learner, a commuter, an online student, you can request counseling through Zoom sessions. And that's a wonderful resource that isn't tapped into enough. So talk to your advisor and they can connect you with those resources.
Yeah. But I guess, and so thank you for that question, because you said, there may be a pre-existing issue, but then you throw work and you throw school, all of that makes it worse. And that gets back to the setting realistic goals. Is it realistic for you to be taking a full load? Probably not. But you're like, oh, but I'm not going to get financial aid. And I'm like, well, so what if you get financial aid and you flunk out and you've wasted it, right? It might be better that you're taking one class at a time and you're paying, more of it on your own, but doing well in it. I mean, you really have to think carefully about, why am I doing this? Can I do this with my life that's going on right now? And it's not a race. Okay. Nobody's keeping score. And I tell students a lot, like, it's okay to take a break. You can, if you need to, you don't have to, you can take a medical leave. You can take a withdrawal. We're here. We're not going away. College is not going anywhere. We'll be here. And so I think you need to be at a point in your life that this is going to work for you. And others, please feel free to jump in with that.
I was just going to add that the Counseling Center has various different programs, and they have one that's called Together All. And if you go to the Counseling Center website, this program is listed there, in addition to many other programs. And it's at no cost to you, it's free of charge. And there's group sessions, there's individual sessions, many different ways for you to participate in that and help you cope with those issues. If you're experiencing that you're overwhelmed, that you're stressed, whatever it is that you need help with, they'll be very happy to help you. And also, I know through the Office of the Dean of Students, Kranti earlier was saying that we connect students to a lot of resources. So if you get to a point where you don't know who to speak with or you don't know who to talk to, you can visit our website or you can come to our office and we will be happy to meet with you, speak with you, and connect you with resources that you may be in need of, especially with these type of resources. Or whatever it is that you may need, we will be happy to connect you with that.
That's great. Thank you. There are so many
Mhm.
resources available. And yes, I think traditionally they've been for the on-campus learners, but since COVID, so much of it is available to our online learners. And all you have to do is ask. And it may be different than what, in-person students get, but our campus really wants you to succeed. And I think our campus, I've worked at a lot of different places and we really see you as a whole student and want to help you holistically.
Mhm.
So don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to reach out. And if you don't get a good answer from a faculty member or something, keep asking. All right. Some of us are better at this than others. All right.
Yep, and we are willing to meet, with you according to your schedule, because we understand that, you're taking classes, you might be commuting, you may have a lot of things going on. So communicate, reach out to us. We'll be happy to meet with you online, or, I go to the campus center a lot of times. I meet with students there. I go to the Penfield, wherever it is that you need to meet, we will be happy to work with you on that.
I primarily teach adult online. So I, and maybe this, I can't speak for all faculty, but, I will meet with students through Zoom or through the phone 7 days a week until 9 p.m. All right. I can't say that I'm available, but if you say, hey, can you meet me this weekend? As long as I know ahead of time, like, yeah, let's, I meet people. And I've also I live in Syracuse. I met people at, Brugger's Bagels on Erie
Yeah.
Boulevard, so I can't say that everybody's like that, but I think for adult learners, a lot of us understand, and the academic program coordinators that adult learners have, the online learners have are great. They are a
Yeah.
wonderful resource. So either
Mhm.
you have Melissa or Sarah or Karen,
Yeah.
if you're an online student, they're just wonderful. They
Mhm.
can point you in the right direction.
Yeah, and also Lisa from the Syracuse campus, right?
And Lisa, yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Nora Anderson is another.
And Nora
Yes.
Anderson.
There's a whole bunch
Yes,
of us. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Yeah.
happy
Okay.
to be a
Yeah,
resource and extended learning
Yeah.
as well, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So getting back to, how do you keep from being overwhelmed? I mean, I think that my whole thing is prevention, right? Is, good time management, setting realistic goals, communicating with everybody involved. But, again, once you figure out when's my best cognitive time to do work around my other responsibilities, be really deliberate and undisturbed when you study, but only do it for 30 to 60 minutes. You got to chunk it. And I say undisturbed. I mean, that's hard if you have young kids. That's hard if you're a single parent. I get it, but you may have to, have a neighbor come over and go play with the kids or do something. And you need to be, just tune out so you can really focus. So I have found the adult learners get a lot more. It's just like, if you want something done, ask a working mother. I've always said that because I've always been a working mother. I can do more in 30
Yeah.
minutes than my spouse can do in 2 days. So, you can do it, but you have to have some support and some help. And whether it's hiring a babysitter or a family friend to watch kids or, shut yourself into a room. I don't know. I'm old. I can't work in a coffee shop. I can't work in Panera. I get distracted. Go to a public library or go to a place where you can, shut the door and be undisturbed, or get some good noise canceling headphones and go into a room and stare, where there's nothing else to look at. All right. Turn off your phone, turn off music, turn off TV, and just really focus. And, you'll retain more, you'll be able to study better. And that same deliberation you need to have with your family time. You may have less time with your family or partner or friends. So make it count. All right. When you do have time. And again, you're having communication and conversations with them that, hey, it's not for the rest of your life. All right. I always tell students, you can do anything for 14 weeks. I know you can. Look at it, or I can do this for 2 weeks and let people know, like, look, for the next 2 weeks, you're not going to see me because it's midterms or I got papers coming up, and that's okay. You know, it's part of the sacrifices you've decided you're going to make for yourself. Just a couple other things. I just want to leave it open to questions, but you know, going to college is really positive. You are a wonderful role model for your children, for your partner, for your friends, for maybe your coworkers. It's interesting. I'm in the integrative professional studies, you know, program, and I'm teaching the courses, and I'm already seeing people from certain companies, you know, they're referring their friends to come and join. And, you know, it's a positive thing. And they're saying, hey, this is tough. This is difficult, but we're doing it. And so realize you're setting an example. Not that and I don't mean to say that as pressure. I just want you to think of your mindset. This is a good thing. This is a really cool thing that you're doing. And don't forget that. You know, you should be really proud of yourself and give yourself a pat on the back. And, you know, when you do feel overwhelmed, keep your eye on that prize. Like, you know, you are working towards a goal, whether that's to improve your job, you know, outcomes, or change careers, or just because you want to learn. I mean, I don't know what your goal is, but think about that. Maybe you have to put it up on the refrigerator. Maybe you have to put it in the bathroom mirror. Like, what am I striving for and why am I doing it? And realize there's no one right way to do it. You got to do what works for you. And if that's fewer classes and taking more time, so be it. It's okay. All right. And the last thing is, make sure that you do show some appreciation for your partner, your children, your friends, because they may be taking on more as well. And just once in a while, just, you know, be grateful and acknowledge that publicly, like, hey, thanks. I realize, you know, I'm not doing the laundry anymore. Thank you for doing it. That can go a long way. And, you know, I think most people would like to try to help you out. And I always tell, you know, in the stress class I used to teach, it's like, surround yourself with positive people as much as you can, especially during this time in your life.
Yeah.
So, oh, good. And Maggie just put up the ODS. What does ODS stand for? Office of
the Dean of Students.
Dean of Students. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Sorry. I don't
Yeah.
know what is ODS. I was concerned.
Yeah.
So there we
with-
go.
Mhm.
We have a couple minutes left. I'd love to open it up for discussions or questions.
I just wanted to add for the Ask Concern Navigator. So it's an application. You go to the website and you just look for Ask Concern, and you can put a keyword in there. So any issue that you're looking to get information about, it could be food insecurity, it could be financial aid, financial assistance. You put that in there, you know, it will bring up a list of contacts, so names of people, offices, contact emails, and telephone numbers, where you can directly get that information and then get a contact right away with someone, so that if you don't feel like you have enough time to drive to campus and get that information, this is a really good application as a resource for that.
Thank you. Any other questions from Avelina, Dorothy, Sky? Anybody else who's on? Well, I really appreciate you coming tonight. Again, I know you took time out of your life. Hopefully you got some tips and some resources. Again, Maggie is the Assistant Dean of Students, Student Outreach and Support, and that's her office that she was showing you for, I'm not sharing my screen anymore. Sorry. I thought I was.
Yeah.
But she can, you know, their office has all kinds of resources. My name is Sandy Barganier. I'm Health Promotion and Wellness, IPS degree. Happy to point you in the right direction. Sarah's with the Extended Learning Office, and she can help as well. So thank you.
Just to kind of add to that, we try to hold these ASAP sessions each semester and cater to student needs and concerns. Please take a couple of minutes to complete the survey that's going to be presented to you, because if you have some ideas of things that you would have rather discussed or things that we didn't get to, these are certainly things that we read through. We actually do take time to review these surveys and get your responses and your feedback. And we want to, you know, get that information to you, what you want.
Yeah.
So please share that with us, and we're happy to add different components to our presentations and bring you different resources. So please let us know. You can find that link in the chat, and it will also be sent to you afterwards as well.
Is this also part of for the raffle, they also are eligible to enter a raffle? Or we just,
Anybody that participates,
that
they will
participates will
automatically,
go
be-
get-
yes, for,
Okay.
a prize. Yes, absolutely. We like to encourage people to come and, we realize that incentives are a nice thing. So we try to do that for you guys as well.
I'd like to just end with just 2 bits of advice for overwhelming and stress. Before you go to bed at night, I'd like you to have a notebook next to your bed and a pen. And I want you to write down everything that's going through your mind. Write it all down and tell it that you will get back to it in the morning. And there's nothing you can do about it right now. Okay.
That's a
And
great
I'd
point.
also like you to get outside for at least 30 minutes every day with no phone, no music, maybe a dog, by yourself, and just have 30 minutes of daylight, fresh air, and silence, and walk. Okay. You'll feel better. And
Yeah.
the world will look a little bit more doable sometimes with good sleep and some sunshine and fresh air and silence. So good luck with that. Thank you
That's
everyone for
amazing,
coming.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Have a
right,
good night,
thanks, everyone.
everyone.